Now, somebody tell Springer I need him now.
Yes, sir.
Where are my rubber bands?
Your rubber band. Oh, come on, put the rubber band in the cork.
This is a bridle needle. And sometimes it comes and the eye is completely closed up, but you just take a knife, put on your glasses. I might have been better without the glasses. I put them on so cockeyed. Stick your pocket knife into the eye and just flex a little bit. You can open up the needle however much you want it open. And then you use a bridle band, not like a wedding band. It's spelled, I think it's spelled the same. And the bridle band there's two ends to a rubber band. The bridle band, you take one loop through the other loop. I'd have to call out the glasses again. You take one end of the loop through the other loop, and you pull it down right nice and tight on the hook. You can't see that from back there, but you can all visualize how you loop both one end of a rubber band through the other end around the hook. And then you take your bridle needle and go through the open eye of the rubber band and hook it on there. Take any bait fish, wherever you want the bridle, stab it through the bait, pull it through, take the hook, and go through the loop of the rubber band that's on the needle, take the needle off, turn the hook one time, and stick the hook underneath the rubber band. And that's how you can fasten on a bait without a jerry's clip. But I'm personally buying jerry's clip and using them instead of this because it's so much easier and quicker. But these guys here, I think they're selling them here. I think there's about 120 to a bag. There's about 120 of these to a bag. And I think they're selling them for $1 a bag, so they're pretty inexpensive. Of course, they blow away in the wind and stuff, but it's a very, very good way to process your bait. Any other questions, or are we ready for the raffle? Yes, sir, in the blue shirt.
When they try to fish out your live bait, you recommend putting a sea anchor out, or no?
It depends on how many kites you have.
What was the question?
Oh, the question was, if you're kite fishing, do you use a sea anchor? If you're only using one kite, you would probably never use a big sea anchor, maybe a small anchor to slow you down. If you're fishing two kites, then in most applications, the sea anchor is to your advantage. It allows you to travel the same speed as the current, which presents your bait like the natural baits are presented to the game fish. So in general, if you have two kites, we use a sea anchor if there's enough wind.
How about deep dropping?
Excuse me?
Deep dropping. Would you use a sea anchor?
No.
Never?
No. Maybe, possibly, if I was fishing a very large area, like if I was fishing for golden tiles where you're just fishing in 700 feet of water, I might. But as a general rule, I would say no, because then you'd be traveling the same speed as the surface current, and you want them to travel at the rate of the bottom current. So generally, I would say not a sea anchor in deep dropping. But when we have our sea anchor out and we have our two kites up, we always fish a bottom rod, because then you're controlling your drift enough that you can fish a bottom bait pretty good in 150, 200 feet of water. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
What's going to happen with all these restrictions that they're proposing, for, let's say, grouper, the gag grouper, and all that?
You're going to be, in the very, very near future, several things are going to happen. In the Gulf of Mexico, you cannot fish on the bottom deeper than 12 feet without a circle hook. Cannot fish with a natural bait or a bait lure combination without a circle hook. Circle hooks will be mandatory in all fisheries in the near future. In the Gulf of Mexico, you cannot fish in deeper than 12 feet of water without a venting tool, a tool to let the air out of the bag, the buoyancy compensator of a fish. And you cannot fish with an arc de-hooker. I devote a little bit of my time to watching out for the interest of you and my clients by going to state and federal fishery meetings and participating in some organizations that stay on top of this stuff. And the government plan was circle hooks in the Gulf of Mexico, venting tools, and arc de-hookers. And their next place is going to be the east coast of Florida. And then the mid-Atlantic states, and then the North Atlantic states, the New England states, and then at some point they'll get to California. It's a whole different world than California. California has some worse restrictions than we have already. But the bottom line is that fishing, catch and kill fishing, is going to get more and more like hunting. You can harvest groupers the first and third Tuesday of the 14th month of the year, and you can harvest snappers on the first and third Tuesday of the week, and you can harvest kingfish 3 months of the year and snook 1 month of the year, and so on and so forth. You're going to learn that fishing is a recreation with the opportunity to usually find something to take home for dinner. But fertilizing your roses and feeding your neighbors is going to be a thing of the past. And it's just the only way that fishing can stay the quality we want fishing to be, with a growing and growing population and a declining habitat for the fish. So we learn to adjust. From January through April, you will not be able to keep a grouper. Basically, for all intents and purposes, it covers all the groupers that you would possibly catch, except for a snow grouper or a Warsaw grouper. And that's okay, because in 6 months they're going to be banned forever. So you're just going to, you have to live, you go with the flow. When the grouper season's closed, you keep more kingfish or dolphin or snappers, and you use circle hooks so that the grouper you catch while you're snapper fishing survives. But that's the future of fishing. Any other questions? Yes, sir, all the way in the back by the ice machine.
You said the arc hooker. Isn't the law just a de-hooker?
No, as I understand it, it's not ARC brand, but it's ARC design de-hookers.
Oh, so
it has to have a curly tail on the end of it. And then
you said no snowies in 6 months?
in about 6 months, snowies and Warsaws will be shut down for the future.
Warsaw's shut down right now, aren't they?
Huh?
Aren't Warsaws?
One per boat per day.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But they'll, and gray tiles and blue tiles and vermilion snappers and rose porgies, they're all just around the corner. So
When are they going to open jewfish again?
when there's a spawning aggregation in the Atlantic between Miami and Fort Pierce. That's what the scientists want. And they're not even close to it yet. They are getting more jewfish in that range, but not enough to make it a viable fishery or population. Any other questions? Want to thank, all the way back in the bathroom door.
what was the proposal on regulation as far as law enforcement stuff, manpower? At the meeting, because how's it going to be regulated?
Bury you under the jail if they catch you, but your odds of being caught aren't too good. But if you do get caught, they'll put you underneath the jailhouse. Last call for raffle tickets. Springer?
So you're looking at like a pot of coffee coming at you. And you have a whole big well full of anything you want. What are you grabbing to throw at?
Pinfish. And then a grunt.
Alright. What is it?
And then something with the tail fins cut off.